With most of the dumb decisions that I cover on this channel about coaches doing something really stupid, even if the thing in question doesn't make sense, I at least understand the purpose behind it. I at least get what the coach was going for. He's a little confused, but he's got the spirit. Take the Matt Eberflus decision from last year on Thanksgiving when he didn't take his timeout, which you can learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. Was it stupid? Yes. Was it one of the dumbest things I've ever seen on a football field? Yes. Did it lead to him getting fired? You bet. But I understood what he was trying to do by saving the timeout, even if saving the timeout was a severe lapse in judgment on his end. Or take the decision by Joe Judge to try a quarterback sneak on 3rd and 9 from his own 4-yard line, which you can also learn more about by clicking the card in the upper right corner. Really stupid? Yes, but again, even if his logic made no sense, I get what he was trying to do. These plays served a purpose. These decisions served a purpose. Even if the decision-making was so backwards that you wondered if the coach was above the legal BAC limit, I could at least comprehend what they were trying to do. Why do I bring that up? Because riddle me whatever the hell this is.
They don't have to blitz. They're able to play zone. The windows are taken away, and then the pressure gets to you.
2nd and 17. They'll stop up at the 36.
All right, there's 12 seconds left, and it's 3rd down, and you're trailing by 11. If you're this man right here, Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon, you've got options. You can call a timeout right away. You can wait a bit before calling the timeout. You can let it go into the half and just eat it. You can do whatever the heck you want. I get the purpose behind anything you do here. Well, almost anything. Because that's when this genius decides to do this.
Now they called the timeout with 2 seconds. Okay.
You call the timeout with 2 seconds left? 2 seconds? You decide that you have no chance at scoring, so you don't take the timeout right away. But you also decide that you don't want to take it into the half. So you take the timeout with 2 seconds? When I say that you can't take timeouts with you, and that you should use all of them that make sense to do it, because they don't carry over from half to half, or from game to game, this is not what I meant!
2-man rush. Now you got Michael Wilson.
Welcome to Dumb Decisions. Before I break down what happened here, this whole series is about taking an in-depth look at decisions made during games that were clearly awful from the start. This isn't something to look bad in hindsight. Rather, this is something to look awful almost immediately. These are moves where your gut instinct tells you right away that there is no way this can possibly work. And sure enough, your gut instinct was smarter than that of an NFL head coach. And for this one, we're taking a look at the mind of Arizona Cardinals head coach Jonathan Gannon. Gannon has to be on borrowed time, right? I don't know how hot his seat is, and when compared to the likes of guys like Brian Daboll, Mike McDaniel, and Brian Callahan, it's obviously nowhere near that temperature. But his seat has to be getting dangerously warm, right? We're in year 3, and I'm still not sure the man has any idea what he's doing, nor am I confident in his ability to lead this team to the postseason, which is almost a given for something that you need to do in your first 3 years to keep your job. The offense looks anemic. Very few, if any, players have shown improvement on a year-to-year basis from 2024 to 2025 that were with the team last year. And the same problems that have plagued Jonathan Gannon through his first 2 seasons, even if he gets a pass for 2023, because the expectations were so low, and he did have a quarterback for half the year, and they were expected to be in the cellar, are plaguing him and his team here at maybe a higher level than before. And maybe you could have some glimmer of hope for Gannon if you had confidence in his ability to manage a game. Again, they're 2-2, they're right in the thick of things. But based on what we saw Thursday night, based on everything we've seen so far this season, absolutely not. This was one of the most puzzling decisions thus far, and one of the most pointless plays ever run by any team in the history of the NFL. So with that being said, let's take a look at why calling a timeout with 2 seconds left at your own 35-yard line is a really bad idea. And before I go any further, I stream all the primetime games on my channel, so I was live with my audience when this happened. I decided not to make the 20-minute drive to Glendale and pay about $100 between parking and concessions and tickets and everything, and decided to stream this thing from my place. And thank God that I did, because you were able to see my reaction to this in real time when it happened. Just to show what these streams are about, and just to prove that this wasn't hindsight bias or anything like that, and just to show you what coaches should be thinking about these in-game situations, and yet don't time after time, here's my real-time reaction to whatever the heck the Cardinals decided to do at the end of the first half by calling that timeout. Take a look. To the top, to the bottom, Murray, flushed out, pump fakes, gonna try and take off the run to the 35 and slides down. Third down, I'm not sure they're gonna call another play. They're gonna let it go into the half. They're going to let it go into the half. They are not even going to try. They will go into the half, and the Seahawks, wait. Now a timeout's called with 2. Wait, what? Now you call wait, what? Wait, why are they calling timeout now? Wait. Why are they calling timeout with 2 seconds? What does that do? What does calling timeout with 2 seconds do for you? At least call it with 10. If you call it with 10, the Seahawks don't have time to get the ball back. You have time for 2 plays. You can throw a corner out to the sideline. You can get 15, 20 yards and throw up a Hail Mary on the final play or kick a field goal. What's 2 going to do? What does 2 do at this point? At least call it with 10. In this spot here, you have 3 options. You have 3 realistic things that you can do that I wouldn't fault you on. Option 1, be super aggressive. You call the timeout right away with roughly 12 seconds left, right as Kyler Murray slides. On third down, you try a passing play to the sideline to set up a Hail Mary, or you run a corner route. If this works, great. You'll have time for another play before you have to kick the field goal or go for the Hail Mary. It'll have to be a quick play, and you'll have to run it within 5 seconds, assuming it's not the Hail Mary, but it's doable. If it fails and the pass ball is incomplete and it's 4th down, you're going to have to punt the ball away. However, you just have max protection on the punt, make sure your punter punts it out of bounds or out of the back of the end zone, and the half is over, and it remains a 14-3 game. So I completely get what Gannon would be trying to do here if he decided to call the timeout right away. It gives you 2 plays to get into range for a field goal or a Hail Mary with pretty minimal risk. Option 2, call a timeout with 9 or 10 seconds left. Call it somewhere in that ballpark. Heck, even 8 seconds is fine. There are pros and cons compared to the first option with this. The problem with calling a timeout at 8, 9, or 10 seconds is that you'll only have time for 1 play instead of 2. If you get to the sidelines, no matter how quickly you do it, you have to go for the Hail Mary or kick the field goal. The pro with this strategy is that, regardless of what happens, you don't have to punt the ball away. Because if the pass falls incomplete on 3rd down, you just go for it on 4th down by rolling out and throwing it out of bounds, not even risking the possibility that the punt gets blocked or the possibility that the Seahawks touch the ball. This is probably what I would have done, and it's what I alluded to live on stream. This strategy allows you to still be aggressive and call a play to get the 20 yards you need to attempt a field goal, or get the 10 yards you need to attempt a Hail Mary, which we obviously know that Murray can throw successfully. But it also minimizes the risk. Again, I get it if you want to try the first option though, and potentially have 2 plays before having to score instead of 1. And of course, there's option 3. Just let the clock run down all the way and save us all of our time. You played like crap. You're not scoring here in all likelihood. It's 3rd down, and your quarterback is taking a beating and is running for his life. Just regroup and go into the half. Don't do anything stupid. Don't take an unnecessary injury, and go from there and bounce back in the final 30 minutes. I completely get that strategy, even if some might say it's cowardly. The Seahawks aren't going to try and stop the clock themselves, because they're more than comfortable having a 2-score lead at the halftime break. And they're not going to try to get the ball back when the math just doesn't work in their favor. So just go into the locker room and figure out what you've got to do. You tried being aggressive earlier, it didn't work out. You didn't take the timeout after Kyler Murray got sacked on first down. You basically conceded the drive already, and you made your hand known. So just call it a half. So you have 3 legitimate options. You have the aggressive option of calling the timeout with 12 seconds left to give you 2 plays before having to get the Hail Mary or field goal, but also give you the minimal risk of punting it back, even if you could just punt it out of bounds. You have the moderate option of calling the timeout with 10 seconds left, or 8 or 9 seconds, somewhere in that ballpark, to give you 1 play, but not make you punt the ball if you don't get the requisite yardage on 3rd down. And you have the conservative option of not calling the timeout at all, and just going into the half, trailing 14-3. Again, do any of those 3 options, and I'm not making this video, do any of those options, and I completely get and understand the rationale. But oh no, because the man you've been watching this entire time, Jonathan Gannon, just invented a 4th option. Our mere human brains can't comprehend what Gannon's galaxy brain came up with. The dry heat got him a few too many times when he came up with this idea. Because to call the timeout with 2 seconds left is a decision that defies all logic, and I have no clue what he's trying to accomplish with it. You're not scoring. You can't get a Hail Mary. You risk an injury for no reason. You're not reaching the end zone. You're not kicking the field goal. If you get a good play, the half is over because there's no time left. Why wouldn't you just take the timeout with 10 seconds left if you didn't want the Seahawks to touch it again, but you wanted to call another play? If it was down to those 2 options, so option 2 and option 4, somehow there's an option 4 here, both options pose the same exact worst-case scenario of not scoring, but both options never gave the ball back to the Seahawks, and only in one option did you actually have a chance at scoring. Option 4 gave you the worst of everything. And for what? Like I said earlier, every play in football needs to have a purpose. What are you trying to accomplish? Obviously, not every play is going to work, and the difference between winning and losing often comes down to just a couple of plays. But you can't be thoughtless and careless. Every play that you draw up and everything that you do in life needs to answer the question if you want to be successful. Why am I doing this? Heck, we do this in our lives. Why am I sleeping? Because I'm tired, and if I don't get rest, I'm going to feel like crap. My body is speaking to me. Why am I eating breakfast? Because I'm hungry. Or even if I'm not hungry, I know I'll get hungry later. Why am I going 65 miles per hour on the highway? Because that's the speed I can go to maintain a safe distance with the cars in front of me. That's the speed I can go at and still make it to work on time. And that's the speed that, while a tad over the 60 mile per hour speed limit, won't get me pulled over by a cop. It's the speed of traffic. You get the idea. Even if you're not actively thinking about it, you're subconsciously thinking while you're doing stuff, because everything needs to have a purpose. Heck, even doing nothing has a purpose. You just need a day or a moment or whatever that is. So using that line of thinking and that logic, ask yourself this. What was the purpose of this play? What was the purpose of what Jonathan Gannon was trying to do? It wasn't trying to score. It wasn't trying to regroup at a halftime break. It wasn't to give the Cardinals a confidence boost. It wasn't to keep the ball away from the Seahawks. It wasn't trying to get into scoring position. This play served no purpose. Every other option that Gannon could have done served a purpose except for the one that he just made up. And it's baffling, just baffling, that this is the man that's expected to compete in a division with the likes of Sean McVay and Kyle Shanahan. He is so far out of his league at this point, it's not even funny. And I don't know what he was trying to do here, but whatever it was, it clearly didn't work. Whatever grand plan he had, seeing as he wasn't asked about it in the post-game presser, I have no clue. But if anyone can make sense of it, and anyone can make sense of why he didn't call the timeout at 12 seconds, or 10 seconds, or didn't call it at all, and decided not to take a timeout after first down when Kyler Murray got sacked, but decides to save it for 2 seconds, let me know, because I've got nothing, absolutely nothing. He was not being aggressive, he was not being conservative, he was not being moderate. I don't know what he was thinking. He was just, I mean, my brain hurts, my brain just hurts. So what do we learn from all of this? Don't call plays without a purpose. Don't coach without a purpose. If you're trying to score, then try to score. If you're trying to play conservatively and just take it into the half and regroup, then take it into the half. But don't try to do both. Don't combine the worst of both worlds. Don't call a play with 2 seconds left where you're theoretically trying to score, even though you could have done it way before that with none of the risks that you're trying to eliminate and that you think you're eliminating by wasting all that time. Have a plan of attack, because if you don't, you're going to look foolish out there. And if your name is Jonathan Gannon, you might want to pay attention to the temperature of your seat, because as it gets colder in the desert, your seat is getting a heck of a lot warmer. Because when all these elements are in play, you can't exactly be surprised when this play backfires. Talk about a dumb decision. Check out our live streaming schedule for the next few days. We're live every single day on this channel, whether we're covering a sporting event or playing GeoGuessr or just taking your requests. So make sure you like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss a single time that we go live and so that you can join this community. Also, thanks to all our members and our Patreon supporters who get exclusive perks like their name at the end of each video, members-only Q&A streams, and cool emojis to use on videos and during streams. See how you can join this community and become a member or a Patreon member by clicking the link in the description below.